Hi everyone. So today we're going to look at making your own template to make some versions of a shed or a dog house, dog kennel, a bird house, could be a beach hut, and we're going to try other versions with a shed and a house. Okay, so it doesn't matter when we do this what size we're going to do. So this is an A5 sheet, and whatever size you like doing, I want you to mark the center point at the top and center point at the bottom. Doesn't matter what the measurement is. And we're going to draw a line down through the middle. Yeah, right. We're going to now put 5 centimeters or 2 inches from the top and 5 from the bottom, and do the same on the other side. Always make sure you're marking right on the edge, otherwise you'll get a funny measurement. Right, so I'm now going to join the center point to those lines. Make sure it's accurate, because this is going to be your template for creating whatever you want to do. Right, there is our basic shape for the roof. But what we're going to do is to create a template to make this bit here. So we've got all different versions here. This is a double one. Okay, so that is going to be our top to cut our card. On this bottom one, we're going to mark it. Now I have a grid on my ruler, and it doesn't really matter what the measurement is. You can make it what you want, but what we need is same both sides. Now I'm going to do the same thing again, because we are going to make 2 different versions. There we go. So these will be my borders for my roof. So we're going to put roof border and left and right. Okay, that is my pen's blodging a bit. Right, so that is all we need. So what I'm going to do now is two ways of doing it. Either I can put this through my laminating machine so that it gets a plastic front and back, or else if you want to do it out of template material, then you need to fix it onto there and draw all your lines with a permanent marker. Okay, so I chose to put mine through the laminator, and it's nice and stiff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to take off these 4 corners. Again, accuracy always. The thing with a template is it's always ready for you to use. And you can make sure that you get the same marks all the time. Now, this one, I want a complete apex. So I'm going to carefully cut up this line and stop there. And then I'm coming up from this side. I want a nice, neat join there. So, there we go. So there is my apex that I wanted. Now this one I'm going to split into two pieces. So I'm going to come up to there. I'm going to come down to the point, and then I'm going to cut down through that way. And this bit is waste, so I'm just going to cut off one of those points. Now, I have now my piece to draw around and get my measurements for my roof. If I want a one-piece design for this bit, I can put that on and make one that is in one piece. But I actually like to miter this bit. So now I've got a left and a right that are mitered, and that will also make a two-piece ridge for me. Okay, so let's put those aside. And we're going to look at doing a shed. So here is my card. And like I've said, it doesn't matter what size your card is. This one here, I created this one from a 5x7 card. This one was created with a 6x6. And this one was an A5 card. So you can see you can use anything so long as you find a center point and then come down 5 centimeters or 2 inches. That is what you will do for every card. So we're going to take this. I can now line this up. You've got these straight edges. I can line up here, match the point at the top, and simply mark with a pencil. And then we're going to cut through both of those. There is the start of my shed. Now I do a lot of card making with wood papers, and this one, because I've printed it without going to the edges, I'm a bit short, but it doesn't matter. We're going to cover that at the top. So I'm going to come now and I'll take off the edges of my white. Yep. It's that one. And I'm coming down to the bottom, line it up, and I'm going to take the bottom off. Right, that's all I need to do at the moment, because what I'm going to do now is to cover the entire piece of the front. So going across the bottom, up the edges, and down the other side. I'm just going to place a bit in the middle. Can't quite reach my bin, it's better. Now I'm going to line this up with the bottom edge and press it down through the middle. Then I can just lift all the other bits all the way around, and it will be fixed in exactly the right place. Okay. If you use the bit down the middle to fix it, got no problems. There should be one last piece to come up through here. There we go. So we're fixed all the way round, and I'm going to turn it over, take my ruler, line it up with the edge, and just use the edge of the card to cut the excess off. Okay, we'll need that later. Okay. Now, when we look at the front of the card, that is absolutely trim with all the edges. Okay. Now we're going to have a look at this, because if we've got that there, right, I can cut the whole piece there. I can use this bit here to work out roughly how deep I want my border to be. And if I want to, I can put myself a guideline, because all we've done is pulled that down to there. Right? So that's there. I'm going to do a right and a left part of my roof there, so I get this lovely apex. Okay. So if I take now, I'm going to do it in wood panels. So I am going to take this and I'm going to just cut off. I'm going to use this light coloured panel, and I've got light coloured panels there. Take that dark one off. Go down one more. So you can choose on your panelling what colour you want your strips of wood to be. So I'm going to use the light ones, put those aside for another time. So I've got two lots there. Now if we have a look at these, this was made out of the same background as this. This one I've used a toning piece of card and I've punched it. And this one I've used a black piece. Okay, so I'm going to take this now and I'm going to do my right hand one. Actually, it's just about the right width. So I'm going to cut that angle there, cut that angle there, and I'm just going to trim this edge. You can draw around, but then you'll have to rub out the pencil marks. So let me show you doing that one. So this is my left hand one. So if I take my pencil, I can mark that one, and I can just mark so there's no guessing at what angle you have to cut. So this was the left one, that was the right one. You can check that the angles are right. Save all your bits because they will come in handy. So I'm now going to take my card here and I'm going to place wet glue because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. Top. Let's take the right hand one and fix that on. Slide it up into its place. And then I'll take this one and slide that up. So now I've got a perfect mitre at the top. And we can take those, put them out the way. Right. Okay, if we're going to decorate the shed, and I shan't do too much on it because we want to get some other bits showing. I've got this piece here which I thought I would take the door out, and I'm going to use this piece here. So again, don't worry measuring it all. It's a shed door after all. And if it looks all right on your card, size-wise, that's fine. So let's have a look. So I want it to about there. So there is my shed door. And I'm going to have that on that side. I'm going to lift it up for the moment. There. I want this bit here because a door rarely goes to the bottom. Okay, and I want to now put a brad in there for a handle. Right, here I've got a brad, and I'm just going to put a little nick in there. Just poke the brad through, and I want the little legs on the back to go up and down. Right, if they were to go side to side, chances are they would come out the back here. So there we go. And I think what we're going to do is to put a little border around the back, and we're going to pick up this dark mark in the wood. So pick up this and we're going to stick it down, and because I don't want it to move, I'm going to use tape, and I'm also taping over the back of the brad. Turn that round. I only want the finest borders. So again, we're not measuring. And we're going to attach that to our shed. and up from the bottom bit. There we go. And we're going to make a little step on the bottom here. So I'm going to put tape across there. Again, no measuring. Just cut some of that off with the tape on the back. And I'm going to place that onto there, onto there. So it will jut out a little bit either side, and I can just cut any bit off there that overhangs. So there's my little step, and I'm going to just straighten that up a bit. There we go. Okay, there's our little step. There's our border all the way round. Now the shed needs a window. So let's clean this up. Okay, I'm going to do a window out of, I think we'll go with this bit here. So remember I said about keeping the scraps, and I'm going to take this narrow piece here. Now if I start to cut here, that's going to be very difficult to get double-sided tape. So take your tape, and once you know which panel you're going, which plank you're going to do, you can put your double-sided tape on, and we're going to just cut that. So take a little bit of white there. I'm going to just fold that in half. Now I want one side, the top and the bottom, will be bigger. So I'm just going to fold it so that this one at the back is just a bit longer. And you'll see why in a minute. Trim. So I've got two short bits, two long bits. Now we can take one of the short bits, and we're just going to pull up the backing. And these shorter bits are the sides of the window. So we're going to place that down. We're going to see where our window will come to, and it's this one here. This is just playing. Right. It's that bit across. These are the longer bits. Just take a little bit of effort to get the backing off, but it's worth it. There's the bit, it's hanging over both sides because we cut it a bit longer. Yeah, now we have the window on there, and we could put acetate behind it. We could put a crisscross in the middle. It's up to you. Okay, now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my piece out there where we've made the window. My window. Right, so I've cut out the window, and on the inside I've cut a piece of acetate, and I'm going to put that just around there, and I'm going to trim that down a fraction. I haven't measured it. So there's only really two measurements on making the shed that are actually measured, and that is the apex, which comes down from the centre and comes down the 5 centimetres or 2 inches. Everything else is just playing. Not coming off easily today. There's one. This is going to give the appearance of the inside of the shed, and we're going to decorate that. So put on a piece of acetate. That's that. So we're looking through there. And we're now going to take our windows, plank scraps, and this one doesn't have to be quite so accurate as the one on the front. So this is a slightly thicker plank. Turn it over, double-sided tape, nice narrow one. Down the back. Start the tape coming off the back. Started it off and then dropped it back again. There we go. This one does not want to go down. So I can see a little bit of white on there. So we're now just covering over where acetate shows on the back. Done 3 sides. It's not enough to go across the top, so we're going to come back. We'll get another piece of the wood, and I'm going to do a wide piece of tape. Don't need too much of it. Seem to be having trouble today. So now I'm just going a piece across the top, and because it's slightly different colour, I'm just going for a bigger bit. Now, that will be the inside of our shed, and what I'm going to add is some shelving which I can cut. Again, no measuring. I'm going for this darker piece at the moment. And I've got all sorts of die cuts of tools and things. So I'm going to add later on things like a watering can, some Wellington boots. But we're just looking at the moment as to getting a few little decorations inside. So let's going to cut down in the middle. I love working with the wood papers. So I'm going to leave that space there, and I'm going to have a small shelf there. Another one just a bit lower down on there. So that's as far as we're going to take that at the moment. We've got this here so that some of our tools will be on top of that shelf and will show through the window. But we'll leave that for now and we'll come back to it. This one was done in exactly the same way, except that I've punched the sides of this one here. Okay. All I've done is cut a hole, and I haven't made it a die cut hole at all. I've just gone round, I think it was some of that with a pencil mark, and then I freehand cut round it. So it's a more natural hole. Okay, and then I've just, this here is all plain inside, but what I've done is to slide up a dark piece underneath before I fixed it down properly. This one was a 6x6, and if we bring back our template, you can see that I've just used the same apex to cut that one. I've used the same bit here to draw around the top of a circle, and then all I've done is to bring the straight lines down, and I've put a bit of dark green behind it. Actually, it was dark green on the back of this paper So all I've done is reversed it, and I know that it all ties in. Now, I thought I'd show you this little lead, right, because that adds quite a nice effect. So if I bring this in here, this is a little clip for jewelry making, a lobster claw, and it makes a beautiful finish to the lead. So if I'm going to have to cut that because it's swelled up a bit. So if I pull that through, just tie a single knot, and I want to push that knot down as far as I can get it. It's waxed cord that I'm using, so I know it's not going to come undone. Right? And then all I'm going to do is to fold that over, and again, this is making the little handle. Pull that down. Pull it tight and trim off. Right, there is a beautiful little lead, this one here, and where I've decoupaged the dog, just underneath where his nose has gone, I've just tucked that so it looks as though he's holding it in his mouth. So this is his name up here, which I just typed on the computer and cut round, and I've put him a little dog bowl onto there. So that is a lovely card, blank inside. So we'll put that to one side. Let's look at this one. This one was a beach hut, and again, put my template down. Here we go. So what I've done, that is a template for C5. This was a 5x7 card. I've measured center point, and then I've come down 5 centimeters or 2 inches and did my same diagonal lines. So you could make a template for a C5, an A5, and you can make a template for 5x7. But if you're doing 6x6, like this one, then that is exactly the same for that one. Right, I thought I'd show you something slightly different in that I've got some, while I was going through my wood papers, I discovered that I'd got some brick paper and some tile paper. So I thought, okay, we'll have a go at a house front. So I'm going to put those to one side, fold my card in half, and we're going to take my template, make sure that these sides line up, and we're going to mark the front of the card. So if you spend time doing your measurements for your template, then it's so easy to just make extra cards very quickly. I'm going to pop that to one side so I know where it is. Now, I've got here some brick paper. Again, it's not going to go right to the top, but come through and put my double-sided tape. Don't forget that middle one because it will hold it while you position everything. So we're going to take the middle one off, line this up, and let it go down. Then I can get my fingers in the back how quickly I've just built the house. Turn it round, and we're going back with ruler if you want to, or you can use the card as a guide. So there is my front of my house all built. And we've got here some roofing paper. Now what I thought I would do is to put like a barge board across. Haven't measured this. This is just a scrap that I had. And I'm going to put that so just hanging over, trim any excess off. Yep. And then we're coming back, and I've got some roofing paper. I'm going to put double-sided across there. I'm going to come across the barge board and then turn it over. Use the apex again. Just cut off the excess. So there is my roof, and I'm going to put a little bit of wet glue behind there. Yep. Right, so then what I've done is I've die cut a doorway. I've put acetate behind, and I've just put a little bit of colour so it looks a bit like a stained glass window, and I've put a bit of white behind it to make sure that it shows up. This was the brickwork that I reversed. Place that onto the side there. I've die cut a window, but you could easily do one exactly the same as we've done before and make it up out of little panels of wood. Add the window. I've put a little bit of patterned paper behind, so it looks like it's showing through the wallpaper that's in the house. And I've got some bits of little plants here that I'm going to just put wet glue. So it does come together quite easily. There's my flowers underneath, and I've got this piece here which I'm going to trim. I'm going to have a little bit of grass that's growing in front of the door. that side. I think that's got enough glue on it. It's better. And I've got this little plant here. So I think I'm going to tuck that behind there just to give a little bit of height. Okay. So there we have the house, same shape, and you can make it exactly what you want. Okay. And we're going to just now go and find some bits to go in our shed to finish our shed. So we've got beach hut, got a little bell hanging up. There's our bird house. It's just missing a little bit of glue there. There's a bird house, and we'll be back in a minute so that we can decorate the inside of our shed. Okay, so I've been and die cut a few bits, but with a bit of fussy cutting, you can take stuff out of a gardening catalogue or anything like that. The first thing I want to do is to work out what is going to be in view up here. So I think I'm going to take my little spray bottle and I'm going to come down. Perfect. Make sure it sits on the shelf. Okay. We're going to hang a couple of bits underneath. There. Now I'm going to go back to the front and we're going to have the welly boots outside. That's one. It's the welly boots, and we've got a watering can. So that's going to be the front, and I think we need a little name for the shed in a minute. So let's turn that over. Now, this is the big one, so we've got to have somewhere for this. I think that's going to hang up there. And have that hanging from the shelf there. We've got a pair of secateurs here, which are going to go up on the top shelf over here. Yeah, and we've got a pair of gloves. Good. Pop on the shelf there, and I have cut a right and a left hand. Yeah. Now I've got some odd pots. Now I don't just want to put pots on. I'm going to go one, Ooh. And have some piled up there. So put hot on there. Yeah, I think I'm going to try and get a third one. I can put one there. And when you're doing this, don't be tempted to just put it on the top of the shelf there. It needs to look as though it's actually standing on the shelf, not right at the back. So there is our decoration inside. We've still got plenty of room to write on it. We can just see the tools through the window. And I think all that we need is probably a little piece on there. Right, so I've now typed a little sign that says Hillary's Retreat. And we're going to stick that on there. And just going to add the tiniest border round in black. And that's going to go up on there. So it's Hillary's Retreat. There's my door, welly boots and watering can, and there's the inside. So let's bring in some of these. So you can tell from sort of just a few little decorations and just using a homemade template. Yeah, we've got no end of things that we can create. Okay, so have fun and enjoy being your own designer. God bless.